Like sometimes like we choose to be alone because it's like easier, it's less stressful, you know. Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about two very important things that people who, you know, people in general sometimes experience. It does not matter what you have going on. Everybody can experience loneliness, but I want to specifically talk about alienation versus isolation and how that can have a severe impact. Well, we all know that can have a severe impact on somebody's mental health. Sometimes people choose to distance themselves, or sometimes, people are just like, that's just how you kind of introverted, extroverted introvert. You come out, I'm kind of like that. I come out when I want to mingle, and then I go back into my hermit mode or whatnot. But sometimes it's very difficult for people who have issues like forming connections, because like sometimes you have people that are extroverts but they have issues with connecting with or maintaining social relationships, or sometimes in regards to like friends groups, like sometimes it can be difficult to form those connections and you have issues with socializing. Isolation is more or less you like to keep to yourself, you like being alone, you find comfort in solitude. And alienation is more or less like it's the feeling of being estranged or pushed out, outcasted, neglected. A lot of times people intentionally alienate other people. This happens a lot in like family dynamics and friends groups. Isolation can be voluntary, whereas alienation is not necessarily voluntary. It's something that is done to a particular person or even a group. It could be a group of people that are being alienated by another group of people. Different societal situations can cause one group to alienate another group. Of course, you see that different groups isolate different groups, whether it's by race, whether it's by class, whether it's by degrees. Like sometimes people just people can choose to isolate themselves for whatever reason, whether or not it's just like somebody feeling like they got a lot going on, they just want to be alone, or could be like a mental health issue. Like sometimes like we choose to be alone because it's like easier, it's less stressful, versus going out. And sometimes it can be like very overstimulating, different situations. So sometimes you choose to be alone. But also sometimes people are isolated or alienated intentionally for being different. Isolation more has the effect of feeling lonely, whereas somebody being alienated would feel more like depressed, or having anxiety, or just feeling like somebody feeling like they're lost, like they don't fit in. But people can isolate themselves because they feel like they don't fit in, whereas when you're alienated, you feel like you don't fit in because you're being isolated or alienated by a particular group. So that is the difference between alienation and isolation. But how do you handle that? How do you deal with that? There are multiple ways that you can handle feeling isolated or alienated. One is working on like social communication skills, or also a sense of like empowerment, empowering yourself. Also, not being so hung up on what other people think of you. And if you have somebody that's like trying to alienate you, maybe in a friends group or something like that, you just feel misunderstood, or maybe people often get the wrong impression in regards to you or something like that, just get out here and start befriending other people. It's a lot easier said than done, but there are ways that you can get out here and connect with other people. But if somebody is outcasting you, or you don't have to prove yourself, you don't have to like be a certain way for anybody. You don't need to fit into one particular friends group. You have to know your worth and you have to know your value. You have to know what you bring to the table and know who you are as a person. We can stay hung up on, okay, such and such doesn't like me, such and such doesn't want to deal with me, simple things like that. Or you can focus on what you can do and what you control at that present moment. Like, okay, such and such doesn't like me. Maybe you don't, it's no reason. Or maybe you want to go see or talk to the person and get an understanding. Sometimes it could be just like a minor, just miscommunication, and somebody could get upset or triggered or take something that you say the wrong way or something like that. So just being open to communication the best way you can. You don't have to be a pro at communication, but like I always tell my daughter, it's important to use your words. It's important to use your words no matter how they come out. Like sometimes like you don't want to be mean or rude to anybody, but you want to try to communicate as much as you can. Let people know how you feel. Let people know how their actions impacted you as well. It's nothing wrong with you speaking up for yourself. You can say what you got to say and then go about your business. Like, okay, this is how you made me feel. And, if it was intentional isolation and somebody's just like, or alienation and somebody's just like, so I don't care, I don't like you, then, oh well, like that has no bearing on who you are as a person. That person not liking you has absolutely no bearing on who you are as a person. You don't have to go throughout life trying to be accepted by other people. You have to come to, you have to accept yourself. That's the main, once you accept yourself, once you get into alignment with yourself, once you love on yourself by doing the healing work, the shadow work, practicing self-love, getting a deeper understanding in regards to yourself. Okay, if you're different or that you experience the world different, or if you're just somebody like you like to be alone or whatever, getting a deeper understanding in regards to you is going to help you come to grips with what's happening around you. If you have people that don't see your worth, don't see your value, you don't have to don't waste your time. You don't have to. Please don't waste your time trying to prove your worth or your value to anybody. You will connect with your soul tribe. You will meet people that love you and appreciate you for who you are. So if you are feeling alienated, it's important that for one, you get help. If you need to talk to somebody, you need to get help. You need to reach out for help. You also need to be patient with yourself. You also need to know that it is not your fault. If you have somebody that is alienating you, do not think that you're a horrible person or whatever, because, a lot of the times we have all these things going through our head, and that's not, sometimes we can be our own worst enemy by getting lost in our thoughts. Like I said, sometimes it could be just like a simple miscommunication. And then you go, communicate with the person, tell them how you're feeling. It's like, oh, well, I didn't mean it like that, or I didn't mean anything by that. Or, sometimes other people have different mannerisms. So we can interpret what other people are saying, or just reading somebody's body language. We can interpret that differently, especially if you interpret the world differently. So maybe you may feel like people don't want to be around you, or people feel some type of way, but once you open up and start to communicating and expressing how you feel, be patient with yourself. First off, don't put yourself in any situation where you're going to get overwhelmed or overstimulated, and it's going to cause you to stress yourself out and have a meltdown or anything like that. You want to be very mindful, but you also want to, when you're comfortable, you want to be able to express how you feel. Also, getting out here and connecting with other people is very important. Like I said, sometimes when we feel rejected, that's another thing. Sometimes you have that fear of rejection, and that could come from trauma and stuff like that you have experienced in life in general. So it's important that you address those issues as well and do that healing work. That's why I say shadow work is very, very important, so that you are aware and mindful, because sometimes our fear of rejection has us feeling like others are alienating us, when in our actuality, we have alienated ourselves from other people. So you have to be aware of that as well, that self-awareness, that mindfulness. That's why it's important to know what's going on within you. That's why it's important to do that self-reflection. That is why it is important to do that healing work, so that you can understand yourself. So when you do start feeling like that, you know pretty much what's going on, or you know how to handle the situation. Like I said, it's nothing wrong with reaching out and getting help. It's nothing wrong with communicating with people, telling people how you feel. Also, if you feel like you are being alienated by somebody, be honest and speak up in regards to that. You don't have to just sit and, feel like, okay, such and such doesn't like me, such and such doesn't want to talk to me, or what, and you know that you've done nothing wrong, or it's been no disagreements or arguments or anything. So being aware and being mindful and not being afraid to reach out for help is very, very important and very key. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video to talk about the differences between isolation and alienation, and you know how sometimes those things can occur. Sometimes we isolate ourselves or alienate ourselves, and sometimes we are alienated and isolated because of other people. Like other people intentionally try to isolate you or alienate you because they don't want you around for whatever reason. So know the difference. Do that self-realization, that self-actualization. Do that self-reflection so that you are aware of what's going on. And like I said, you don't have to prove yourself to anybody out here. You have to be able to be whole and complete in yourself and content with yourself. So I hope this video helps. I'm going to list some articles in the description box below for anybody that's interested on, you know, dealing with isolation, or ways that you can heal from feeling isolated or alienated. But I'm going to end the video there. I wish you all the best. I hope you have a very blessed and amazing rest of your day. All right, bye.